53 weeks ago, on St David's Day of last year, a petition closed to new signatures with over 35,000 people having signed it. 18,707 of those signatures from Cymru. That petition, submitted by Hope Rescue, called for a simple action. It called for a ban on greyhound racing in Wales. And I can see the lead petitioner, Vanessa from Hope Rescue, is here watching alongside supporters today, and I welcome them to their Parliament. The Petitions Committee agreed to hold a brief inquiry focusing on the welfare of greyhounds involved in racing, and we took evidence from campaigners, the Greyhound Board of Great Britain, and indeed the owner of Wales's only greyhound racing track in Wales. Presiding Officer, subsequently we published our report, The Final Bend, and it's that report which we are debating today. Our report made 5 recommendations, but the headline conclusion was that a clear majority of the committee are in favour of introducing a phased ban on greyhound racing in Wales. Presiding Officer, I'm confident that today's debate will show that a majority of this Senedd chamber will also join those calls. I must say, Presiding Officer, I was disappointed that Bally's Track previously boasted on its website, and I quote, "an eye-watering sharp first bend." And it was in evidence to us from Hope Rescue, where they explained that in their experience, it was here where the most injuries occurred. The presiding officer knows I'm a dog lover, and as a dog lover myself, the images of dogs suffering life-changing injuries whilst racing at this track has stayed with me, including those images of Sienna, who badly broke her leg at Valleys and sadly had to have it amputated. The sheer fact that in a 3-year period, the Amazing Greys programme had to step in to help over 200 racing greyhounds at Valleys is truly heartbreaking, and it shows that Sienna's story is not simply a one-off. How anyone who has witnessed dogs in such pain can then take to their website to boast about the perilous nature of their track is beyond me. Wales should be leading the way on animal welfare, and this today is an opportunity for us to do exactly that. However, we already have an indication of what the wider public in Wales think. Opinion polling conducted by Panelbase in February of this year and shared with me by campaigning organisation Grey 2K USA Worldwide suggests a clear majority in Wales would indeed support a ban. The polling findings include 57% think that the Senedd should vote to phase out greyhound racing, while only 21% are opposed. 50% would vote yes in a referendum to phase out greyhound racing in Wales, whilst only 21% would vote no. And 43% have an unfavourable view of greyhound racing, while only 21% have a favourable view. In her response to our report, the Minister has confirmed that the Welsh Government intends to consult on proposals for licensing activities involving animals this year. And that consultation will also seek views on how to improve the welfare of racing greyhounds in Wales. And crucially, it will include a question considering a phased ban, as the committee recommended. In our report, we were clear that becoming a licensed track would give additional protection to greyhounds, but it would, as a result, in a significant increase in the number of dogs racing every week. And even that would mean more races will lead to more injuries and more animals suffering. Presiding Officer, during the last year, a number of organisations have considered their position on greyhound racing. And these are organisations that have previously worked with the industry to support the animals, and they have changed their policy. They have now decided that in the 21st century, it is no longer okay that greyhounds should suffer for our entertainment. And their change of heart was crucial for me personally and many of the committee members. They no longer felt that they could mitigate and make better. They have come out in favour of a ban and are calling for Wales to take the lead in the UK. Presiding Officer, Wales does have a strong recent record on animal welfare, and the Minister has been clear in her response that she was always intending to consider licensing of greyhound racing as part of Labour's manifesto commitment. And I'm pleased that the Minister has also agreed to include the phased ban proposed by the committee as a question in that forthcoming consultation. But I know that many here in the chamber, many in the audience and many watching at home will have one very important question, Minister. How long will it take to hold that consultation? And if the evidence on the other side of that consultation suggests a ban, how long will it take to introduce that ban? Presiding Officer, banning things is something that we do not take lightly. There are processes that need to be followed, and thorough consultation with all stakeholders has to be a part of that, on both sides of the story. I understand that. Campaigners understand that too. But where there is a consensus for change, where the majority of people no longer see dog racing as an acceptable form of entertainment, there is an expectation of action. Minister, we called our report The Final Bend because we think that's where we are, that this so-called sport is on its last lap. I hope that today, Minister, you'll be able to give greater clarity about when we will cross the finish line. Diolch. Presiding Officer, can I thank the Minister for her positive engagement with the committee, not only today but throughout the process. The Minister is absolutely right. Animal welfare is an absolute priority, and that's a position the committee undertook in its inquiry work. I was pleased actually to hear the Minister reference the difference between greyhound racing and the horse racing authorities in Wales. I think that is an important lesson to be learned. But can I thank all contributors to today's debate? We heard it is an emotive topic. We know it's an emotive topic. Jane Dodds articulately very well all the time in this chamber in memory of her beloved Arthur. Jane doesn't want to see another Arthur go through similar experiences. I don't want to see any dog go through those experiences. But there was a mixture of thoughts. A number of colleagues did support a phased ban approach. A number of colleagues didn't. A number of colleagues wanted to wait. Heaven David, for example, didn't want to take a view until the public consultation has been completed. But he very rightly, I think, as member of the Senedd for Caerphilly, raised those consequences and concerns of what may happen next for his constituents, and he was right to do that. And of course, those questions need to be answered. I think what we did here today was the importance of that consultation. And just to turn to 2 points, I think, from my colleagues to the left of me. James Evans first referred to the nuclear option of banning. Well, because of you referenced the consequences of the economy and so on. Well, actually, the Petitions Committee took into consideration those consequences. And what we decided is it's not the nuclear option of a ban tomorrow, that if there was an evidence for a ban, then it should be a phased-out approach, so those consequences are mitigated as well. And then to turn to my colleague Joel James, I think what he was trying to emphasise was the importance of that consultation. And all members of the committee signed up to a public consultation. The Welsh Government accepted that recommendation, and we look forward to hearing the outcome of that. But I would say, in reflection of the contribution, I do think actually the committee did have sound evidence from both sides of the story. We held 2 oral evidence sessions in our committee. We heard from the chair of Premier Greyhound Racing. We heard from the owner of the Valleys racetrack in Wales. We heard from the chair and an independent member of the board of GB. And on the other side, we heard from Hope Rescue, the petitioner, Greyhound Rails and Almost Home Dog Rescue. And the evidence in front of the committee at that time was enough to persuade the majority of committee members to call for a phased-out ban. But I do think it's an important reminder that there is that stage, that right process that I referenced in my speech in my opening to this debate. There will be a public consultation. The Minister referenced that as well, and it will include that important question, I think, one for members of the committee, a phased ban to greyhound racing. Deputy Lowry, I don't think I need to say too much more than that. I do think, actually, still, that the majority of members in the Senedd do support a phased ban. There is some that support regulation. What is absolutely clear is that greyhound racing in Wales cannot continue as it is today. That is absolutely and fundamentally clear. I do thank those campaigners and the petitioner, because without the petitioner, we wouldn't have had this debate today. We wouldn't have had that inquiry. I look forward to the consultation. I look forward to its outcome, and I look forward to working with colleagues in my capacity as a member of the Senedd and not as chair to continue to press the Welsh Government to deliver the recommendations of the report and bring down the curtain on greyhound racing in Wales.
A question here, whether the proposal is to note the committee's report. Does any member object? Yes, there is objection. I will defer voting under this item until voting